Hey everyone, well, my chair. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Functional Ambition podcast. It is Cassandra, and I'm so excited to talk to you about habits today and specifically what your habits are showing as your identity. So, I have my notes here. I am ready to go. I had some coffee this morning, and girl, I took a PTO day just to really relax and have a self-care day. I'm all in that era for myself right now, is just my self-care era. And PTO days are definitely a thing, especially if your company is all for it. So I'm very grateful for the company that I work for. Now, we're going to be talking about identity behind your habits and basically what your habits are revealing about what you think about yourself. So, the very first thing that I want to start off with here, though, is you have permission to not revamp your life, to not have a 5 a.m. morning routine, to not build a business, to not run a marathon, not to do all the things that you're seeing on Instagram and all the different social media platforms just because somebody else is doing it and it seems like every single person in the world is participating in at least one of these things does not mean that you need to. You have the permission to be fully content with the life that you have right now. And I really wanted to make this clear because in this episode, we are going to get into a lot of different things like surrounding all of our habits and what it means to have an identity backing your habits and whatnot. And I just really want you to understand that this podcast and this episode specifically is not to shame you. A lot of the podcasts and other self-development things out there unintentionally shame us into feeling like we are not doing enough. But I want you to know that you are doing enough. And that's the whole purpose of this podcast, is that functional ambition is all about your capacity, your capabilities, what responsibilities and priorities you have, and how we can fit in your habits and goals into the life that you have right this moment, not in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, in this moment. And so if you are content with where you're at and maybe you're kind of looking to maybe expand some of your habits and you're like, I want to replace doom scrolling with reading or something like that, this podcast is for you. This podcast is not going to be about shaming you into trying to design a life that you don't even want. And there is, like, for me personally, I absolutely love my life. I love my life right now. And if I didn't want to grow or see what the potential that I have is going to unlock for me, that would be okay. That's totally okay. And I would be so content and happy with that. Now, if you're a person who is not content with your life, if you are wanting to change your life, this podcast is also for you. We're doing this in a way that is sustainable. So, without further ado, let's get right into what it means to have identity behind your habits. So, number one, discipline is not better than your identity. And what I mean by this is I need to work out. We all say that. I need to work out. When I'm saying I need to work out, what I'm really saying is, how do I make myself work out? How do I make myself do this? And we don't want to do that. We don't want to make ourselves do anything. Instead, we want to see the benefits. And so instead of saying, I need to work out, what I'm going to say is, I'm someone who takes care of myself, my well-being, and my long-term health. The difference there is that we have so much more going on in and all of the benefits that are happening when we decide that we're going to work out instead of just relying on that motivation, just relying on the discipline that it takes to get there. We do need discipline. I'm not dogging on discipline. But having a rewired phrase to yourself is going to help you get a lot further with your habits than if you weren't doing that. So I need to work out, rephrase it to I'm someone who takes care of myself, my well being, and my long term health. Another identity shift that you could have is I'm good with my finances. Now, instead of saying, oh, I really need to get better at handling money and dealing with my finances, we can say, okay, I'm someone who takes care of my finances because I want to be debt free. I want to have a retirement account that's full of money and keeps growing every year. I want to retire by the time I'm 62 because I want to thoroughly enjoy my life in my retirement stage. There are many, many, many people that I know who are going into their 70s. They are still not retired. They're not even just working a part-time job, they're working full-time. So when we rewire our mindset from saying, oh, I really need to get better at finances, and we say that I want or I take care of my finances because I want to be debt free, because I want a retirement account that's abundant, and I want to retire by the time I'm age whatever. When we do that and rephrase that mindset, again, we're choosing that identity over having the discipline. And again, discipline is not a bad thing to have. We have to have some of that to continue our habits day after day and being consistent. But if we are only relying on that phrase where we just say, I just really need to be better with money. Okay, but why? What's the benefit to it? And then how are we going to start showing up as that version of ourselves? So basically what we're doing here is we are showing up as that higher level version or that next level version of ourselves, that person that we maybe are journaling about, the person that we have up on our vision board. We're talking to ChatGPT about. We want to be this person who is X, Y, and Z, but when we still have these phrases in our heads, we're putting all of that out there saying, I just need to do this. Girl, you don't want to make yourself do something. You just do it because you want to take care of yourself, because you want to take care of your financial future, because you want to have good long-term health. You do those things because that matches your identity that you're building and that is built for you in the future, not based on just the discipline alone. So, number 2 is actions equals story. And what I mean by this is that every drop in the bucket, every coin that you put into a bucket is telling a story. So, for example, if we have decided that one of our habits that we're building is getting 10,000 steps a day, and we need to go for a 2-mile walk every single day after work to make sure we're hitting that, because we inherently are sitting out all day at work, right? If I need to do a 2-mile walk per day and I'm skipping the walk, the story, the coin that is going into the bucket of this story over here is that I do not prioritize myself. Now, if I decide to take that walk, I am putting my coin in my bucket over here, and I'm saying, I do show up for myself. And now this isn't just like a one-time thing. If I'm hitting that 2-mile walk 5 out of the 7 days, I'm going to be very happy with that because that's consistent. At least I know I'm going to show up 5 of the 7 days. I'm showing up on a random Wednesday and then eventually like a random Thursday and then maybe like Sunday. That's not consistent. We're not even hitting the same days, let alone probably the same times, right? So we want to make sure that every action that we're doing, we recognize that that is going into a bucket of what the identity is building. So again, if we can revert this back to number one, where if I am consistently showing up for myself 5 of the 7 days out of the week, taking that 2 mile walk, I know that I am building that identity that I want to become for my higher level version of myself. So number 3 is struggling with change, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on this one. I don't know about you, but most people don't like change. Me personally, girl, I'm a Gemini. I live for change. I get bored really easy. My routines don't stick because I get bored, because I want to try something new, because, oh, this new product came out. Oh, because I just saw this on Instagram and I should be doing this. That's me. If you are not like that, you probably struggle with change. So we have 2 of the extremes here. If you struggle with change, that kind of sucks because you already have a mindset and you're like, I don't want anything to change. But then you also have the mindset of me over here where it's like, I love change and I want to change all the time. I'm going to change every single routine every 3 days because I get bored of it. Okay, we want to be in the middle. We want this happy medium here. But the whole idea behind change is that we can change a behavior. We can start adding in that 2 mile walk every day. But if we don't understand why we're doing it, the belief behind the change, the benefit behind the change, we aren't going to stick with it. It's just as simple as that. Motivation. You don't have that belief in your head that you will follow through without motivation. You don't have evidence for yourself. You don't have that self-trust or respect because you have not followed through on what you've asked yourself to do. And so, for an example, we're going to go through this step by step. So let's say you want to become a runner. Been there. But you're not athletic. You don't view yourself as an athletic person. You hated running in high school. Me too. I did not like running in high school. I hated track. I did not like any of it. But then I found long distance running. I love it now, by the way. But I decided that I wanted to become a runner. And I said that I'm not really athletic. I'm in my 30s. I just don't know. What we need to do is change our mindset. Now, when I say change your mindset, you're just like, that's easier said than done. And absolutely it is. 100,000%. It's way easier said than done. And so I'm going to take you through step by step what we're going to be doing to change our mindset into I'm a runner. Okay? So your brain needs evidence and affirmations. And what we're going to be going through here is actions, evidence, beliefs, and then finally your identity. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to make a very, very teeny tiny small promise to ourselves about what we want to be doing. So if I want to become a runner, I want to make sure that I'm making a small enough promise that I can keep to myself every single week. If I've never run before, or if I haven't run in a really long time, I'm not going to just jump to a marathon. I'm not going to just jump to 26.2 miles. If you are, good for you. But more than likely, you're not going to. Instead, a small promise for yourself could be something like, I'm going to do the run walk method, and I'm going to do it 2 times per week after I strength train for 20 minutes. I'm just going to run walk for 20 minutes. That is a pretty good promise to make to yourself because you're not going from 0 to 100. You're not even going 0 to 50. You're just going, I think I can do this, and I'm going to sprinkle it in after I do something else. So you're already maybe active. You're already maybe working, or maybe when you go out on your walk, you're like, I could maybe like run for 3 minutes and then I can walk for a minute. Maybe I can walk for 2 minutes, and that would be good too, right? So you're going through these things and you're figuring out what is going to work for you that's going to be sustainable. After that, we're going to collect the proof. The proof is Maybe the first week you were really excited. By week 2, you were like, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore. But you showed up anyways. And you were like, I just didn't want to, but you proved to yourself that you were going to follow through. And then maybe weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6, you had different things come up where you were like, I just really don't want to. It's cold outside. It's too hot outside. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed out from work. I'm just blatantly unmotivated. That's okay. But you still did it anyways. And you did it again and again and again and again and again. And you showed yourself that you can be consistent and that you can follow through. So multiple things are happening here. You're collecting proof and you're collecting self-trust. You're collecting confidence. You're adding confidence coins into your little confidence bucket because you're following through on what you said that you were going to do. You're becoming your own best friend, right? Pretty soon, you went from being like, oh, I don't even know if I can run like for 2 minutes to now you can run for 10 minutes straight. And then maybe you're thinking, holy cow, am I a runner now? And being a runner is subjective. Everyone has very different opinions about being a runner. And some of the elite runners are totally different and are like, you have to run the full 26 miles. Girl, you can be a run, walk method girly, and I will consider you a runner, and you should consider yourself a runner. So I want to make sure that this is not me telling you that you have to do all of these things and check this all off, because that is not it at all. When you start running, in my mind, you are a runner. Okay. So now the next step here is going to be that we need to support that identity. And again, this is not to say that you are going to be a runner now after you do these things. I'm just giving you some ideas to support the identity that you are a runner. Okay. So first, get yourself some shoes. Get the shoes that fit your feet, that fit your arch, that make you feel comfortable when you're running. Maybe they're really squishy, maybe they're not, maybe they're more flat, maybe they're more arched. They're going to fit your gait the way you run personally. You're not just going to go after the shoes that all of the influencers are seeing, not the $250 pairs of Adidas Zeros or Evos or whatever they're called, just because you saw them on Instagram. You're going to go and intentionally pick them out for yourself or have an expert help you with it. Maybe you're going to go get a new running outfit. We love that. But you don't have to either. Sometimes you just want to run in like baggy t-shirt, baggy shorts, and you're like, hell yeah, I'm ready. I'm going for this run. You don't have to be in a matching set, but it is something that maybe you want to have that identity with. That's okay. If you want to show up like Adam Sandler, girl, me too. But also sometimes I'm like, no, I want to do a matching fit. I want to do that too. So whatever that looks like in your brain, your runner's identity, do that. Maybe you're signing up for a race or like a fundraising like race, and you're not racing, you're just like, I want to do a 5K. That would be so fun. And maybe you're signing up for the coach to 5K. Maybe you're going to a run club or a movement club like She Moves. Maybe you are fueling yourself. You understand now what it means to fuel yourself and to eat all of the carbs and to get the gels and the salt tabs and this, that, and the other to make sure that you can sustain your runs. You're moving, running, walking, strength training, mobility, all of the things consistently. And then you're learning about that recovery. So those are all like just things that can support your journey in running. And this whole example just proves to you how much harder it is to change the behaviors that you currently have and that with those habits that you currently have. So if you're looking to add a new habit, just follow these steps. It's simple, it's broken down, it's piece by piece. It just takes time. Every single habit just takes time. And when you understand that and you recognize that it's not going to be an overnight thing, it's going to feel that much better. Okay? So The last thing I have to share with you is that your identity is shaped during the journey, not at the finish line. And realistically, there shouldn't be a finish line. We are consistently like going through and building habits and building businesses and doing all of these things and hitting all of these goals. Maybe we're checking them off and we're not even like really sitting in that journey. We don't recognize that the journey is what made us who we are today, not when we finally got to check it off of our vision board or our checklist for the year, anything like that. The journey is where you build your identity. On Monday, your homework was to create one habit for the week and to follow the 5 habit blueprint. So I'm going to just go ahead and list those 5 things off for you. So the first one was stop trying to revamp your life, which you already did because you're picking one habit to focus on. We're going to make it easier for ourselves. We're going to wait to add in a new habit. So we're only focusing on this one. Okay? Remember that. And it's only until we get to a default stage of this habit. And then number 4 is we're going to set ourselves up for success and remove that decision fatigue. Okay? And then the 5th tip is going to be where you put your habit matters. So that means if you are going to walk early in the morning, you're going to go walk for 2 miles, or you're going to walk after you get off work. Where you put that is going to matter the most. So make sure you're hitting all of those. And then we're going to also change our belief around this habit. Okay? So make sure you're asking yourself. And then I want you to start making that small little promise for yourself. Maybe instead of walking 2 miles every single day, you're going to walk 2 miles every other day. And you're going to stick to it. And then you're going to collect that proof. So even when you didn't want to, you still showed up anyways. And then you're going to support this habit by maybe you're going to get new walking shoes. Maybe you're going to set yourself up for success and have your walking clothes out the night before you go to work. Or maybe you're taking them with you to work so you can change and then just get on your walk right away. How are you going to support your habit? I know that's a lot of homework for this week, but you got it. I know you do. And I cannot wait to see you next week. And sharing this 12-week journey with you is going to be incredible because we are both building at the same time. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Love you. Bye.